Hello, everybody. I'm just experimenting with my looks a little. I'm sorry if it's strange, um, but I really like this beret, which I've bought a long time ago. Uh, so I'm really sorry for the slow upload in my videos because my schedule has been pretty hectic lately due to the fact that I'm actually close to finishing my semester and I will graduate next year from my diploma course in theology. Um, which I do feel a little bit sad, but I believe that this course throughout this year has actually taught me a lot of things, and I have interacted with quite a number of people, whether they're from my course or outside of my course, who who have taught me many things about theology or about existential thinking or philosophical thinking in general. And I think the unique experience of being in a religious campus is just so different to what I had before. Um, it allows me to actually put myself in the shoes of the people that are within the campus that actually belong to the ministry of Christ. And I can't say that I actually regret it. I didn't regret it at all. In fact, I enjoyed it. So today's topic will be a little bit interesting because it's something that I have been internally struggling with. It's not very serious, but it does affect um, my emotions and the way I approach shopping and actually buying things in general. So, when I said earlier in my introduction where I have an addiction to shopping, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but my inclination to shop and to spend money is not an exaggeration. And I believe that I'm not alone. I'm not the only person experiencing this in the world. Um, Purely because society now um, is heavily ruled by the commercial spirit. And since I'm an artist, I still am, even if I'm struggling. Even if I'm studying theology, I like to do scrapbooking for my in my spare time or drawing. But sometimes, oftentimes actually, it involves spending a sum of money, of course, to get the materials, um, to use them, and to finally realize that you don't have enough, and therefore you keep buying more. In my case, I buy scrap materials for my decorating my junk journal or my visual diary. I usually spend on vintage newspapers, probably even used newspapers. Um, Sometimes magazines that I can't obtain, I usually buy them in a special shop. Origami or those sorts of things that artists would use to decorate their visual diary. And of course, some of you may notice that art supplies aren't actually really displayed as outwardly compared to grocery shops, compared to shops that cater to your daily needs like food. Um, in my case, in Melbourne, Australia, shops like Coles, Woolworths, chemist, warehouse, usually places that shops that sell these necessities. They're placed in a certain location where it's actually easy for the eye to spot, the huge signs, the screaming that you have to get this because you need it, and there's always this bargain, the sale sign every now and then that appears. It's not too similar with my hobby, with the shops that I usually visit to buy my art supplies. But in a sense, it is similar that whenever you enter into the shop, or even outside of the shop itself. There is a tactic that's used by whoever owned the shop, or probably the local council or the community who actually who gave the shop a license to run the shop in that particular municipality. Um, and this tactic is actually called the nudge theory. So I'm not a certified psychologist, but I did study happiness and positive psychology as a university elective when I was still studying animation. And I learned that the nudge theory, or nudging in another term, is simply means the technique involved in placing objects or placing products that cater to your convenience, or that reinforces a certain behavior, whether that's an existing behavior that's circulating in the area or in the neighborhood, or actually forming a new kind of attitude to shopping or to things. It's or developing a certain kind of behavior that suits the architecture of the place itself, you know. So for example, when you are inside a inside a grocery shop, usually you notice that people wouldn't really, well, in my environment, people wouldn't really take their time to actually walk slowly towards the product that they need. They would run around the aisle and actually grab the products really quickly, you know, compared to actually browsing in an art shop or a boutique shop, for example, where you take your time to observe what clothes that you want to buy. And the nudge theory can be useful, it can be beneficial, or it can be harmful in the way that whomever planned or orchestrate this technique would they would gain something out of it, but at the same time either harm you physiologically or to actually help you practice or enact a certain attitude towards that environment. One more point which I believe is essential to make is the theory that we actually try to buy feelings instead of things whenever we reach out for a product. I mean, of course, in reality and phenomenologically, we are actually trying to integrate our feelings, our emotions onto that product. Like, what are we actually looking for, and what do we actually want out of this product? It doesn't matter if people don't have the same product sometimes, but sometimes people buy things out of the need for validation, right? Like buying the same designer bag as some of your peers in school, maybe, or your fellow family members who are actually probably wealthier than you. So it does make me question whether the spirit of commercialism is ruled by competition. And of course, it clearly does. It's ruled by competition and the need for always putting out, displaying the best products that's convenient, that's appealing, and they always try to convince you that you need this product. They're trying to sell you a feeling rather than the actual item itself. Because at the end of the day, a bag is just a bag. It has the same function as any other bag, and in fact, some of the bags that are bigger than the designer bags would prove to be more functional, right? Now, I'm not saying that I have a prejudice against designer bags. This is just my theory. But essentially, my point is that functionality disregards appearances. It disregards when it comes to an experience, the experience in buying an item that's readily available to you, or whether it's actually a distance. It's trying to sell a feeling overall. And I think it's important to distinguish whether this is a feeling that an urge of shopping impulse simply because you just need, as in like you really want to have that object because you have a strong sense of competition against other people, or you're afraid that people might already have the things that you don't have, or you're simply just craving for a company, a friendship or some connection that you can't really find within people. So you use shopping as a substitute for that, which is, of course, not the best idea. So I mentioned Woolworths because I noticed that in the suburb that I'm in, I don't know if this is actually apparent or if this is the case in other suburbs or other shops. The Woolworths near my place actually have little baskets filled with smaller bananas, apples, and other fruits that are actually free, and they're provided for little kids, little kids who are hungry, who'd usually be forced to tag along their parents, shopping in the grocery store where they're actually really bored, or when they're hungry so they can take the free food and eat it. But the question is why they pick why are fruits provided instead of chips, where the packaging is, loud and usually always in warm colors like yellow or red, where it screams hunger, it screams sensation. It's really different to vegetables, it's really different to, for example, healthy snacks like veggie snacks or dried apple snacks. Well, maybe the grocery store or the whomever arranged the items or the products in the shop want the kids to be healthy. Or yeah, they simply would think that the kids would they would obtain more protein by eating these fruits, right? So that's basically my understanding of the nudge theory. And people would have a broader understanding of it because this is simply just for my analysis. But do let me know what you think of it. Peace out.